About 3 weeks ago, a fiery flame was ignited with more rumors of Kingda Ka closing. Some Redditor posted on r/rollercoasters that Kingda Ka was going to close. There was an article titled "Saying Goodbye to Our Tallest Roller Coaster," and it was a supposed leak from the Six Flags newsroom. Happily to say, there was a 99% chance that this was fake, and only really added fuel to the fire of Kingda Ka rumors. But this got me thinking. With Top Thrill Dragster getting converted to Top Thrill 2, and with the inherent design of Kingda Ka, is it going to close anytime soon? Well, the short answer is definitely not, but in this video we're going to dive into the rumors and talk about what I think will end up happening. This will be a review/analysis video, so the first half of this video will be a short but still an official review of this coaster, and the second half will discuss what is next. So with that out of the way, we have a lot of content to cover, so let's jump straight into it. First off, let's review this coaster, from the ride experience to the line experience. Now, Kingda Ka is an absolute masterpiece, and some people really love it. I am not one of them. I am probably going to come off a little harsh about how much I like Kingda Ka, but that does not mean this is a bad coaster in any way. In fact, it is in my top 25, but that doesn't mean much because I don't have that many credits, but it does sit in the top 15% of my rankings, so that is a more significant number to think about. So I want to preface, I don't hate Kingda Ka, it's just really easy to dog on this coaster, so sorry but not sorry if I come off very negative. Starting with the line experience, I promise I will make this quick. Kingda Ka is presented so well. The top hat is so far away from the park, but you could still see how tall it stands. This part of the park is absolutely beautiful with all of its greenery, and Ka's line is surprisingly presentable for a Six Flags park. The station building does what it's supposed to do, and the station music is an absolute bop. Keep in mind, this ride has one of the strictest loose particle policies out there. There are no metal detectors, which is kind of surprising considering that this coaster goes 128 miles per hour, but the park staff do a visual check of your pockets, and there is no free lockers, so Six Flags sucks for that one. But I mean, I guess they are slowly addressing the problem. Toro got lockers, but I don't think Ka has them just yet. Now, my first time riding Ka was quite literally one of the best coaster experiences I have ever had in terms of just pure anticipation. I rode this coaster when I was pretty new to this hobby. It was before our big Asia trip and in my early days of being a coaster enthusiast, and the massive 456-foot tower and the crazy powerful launch actually scared me. I had adrenaline pumping in me getting into the front row for my first ride, and that is something no coaster can do for me anymore, even Kingda Ka. So that is what this coaster has going for it. It scared the shit out of me, and even Edge and Nika couldn't do that. So already you have bonus points there. Now, when I actually got on the coaster and rode it, I came off like, hell yeah, that was a cool ride, but I felt like it was missing something. And with more re-rides and more thinking, I kind of came to the realization that this is not a complete coaster. I thought it was gimmicky more than anything. The tallest coaster in the world title was cool and all, but I don't know if I loved it. Unlike Superman Escape from Krypton, I thought it was a respectable way to do it, but I don't know if it was a world-class way to do it. Now, say something like Falcon's Flight, which will be the tallest coaster in the world and has a complete gate layout. Well, yeah, that puts Kingda Ka to shame. However, no way in hell would you find this anywhere in the world besides the Middle East, though oil money can fund literally anything. Anyways, we are getting a little sidetracked. I just thought Ka was too gimmicky. It is no different than Top Thrill Dragster or Red Force, besides the difference in height. And honestly, can you tell the difference in the 36 feet compared to Dragster? I highly doubt it. In fact, some people prefer Dragster more because of the lap bars instead of the bulky over-the-shoulder restraints on Ka. I honestly personally don't mind the restraints on Ka at all. It wasn't like this coaster was pulling crazy airtime or anything like that, so the hard over-the-shoulder restraints did not impact the ride experience that much, besides maybe making you feel too safe. I'm sure the open air element on the lap bar on Dragster makes it a much more scarier ride to ride, so Top Thrill has that going for it. So yeah, it is kind of gimmicky, but let's talk about the coaster. The launch is amazingly powerful, and just when you think it is going to end and run out of speed, it keeps on going. Rolling out of the station and sitting in the front row and just seeing that launch track in front of you is such a sight to behold. It's beautiful, and it's probably my favorite thing about Kingda Ka. It's the anticipation, not the ride. It honestly feels like shortly after you launch, you hit the brake run, it is over in a flash. However, back to the launch, you hit a top speed of 128 miles per hour, which used to put it at the fastest coaster in the world, but we all know Formula Rossa took that title. Anyways, you could feel the speed, your cheeks go flapping in the wind, and it's just an insane experience. The launch track does get really rattly the farther down it you go, and it does get worse the farther back in the train you are. And once you hit the top hat, you get a good pop. I don't know if that's the right word to explain it, but I'm gonna go with it. You get a good pop of positive G's as you start the ascent up the tower. Now, it's a pretty quick climb to the top, and on my rides, we climbed so fast in elevation and so quickly that my ears literally popped, which was kind of crazy because it just made me love this coaster even more. You get like a few seconds when you're cresting the top hat to take in the view. It's beautiful. If you want the views though, go ride Zumanjaro. and then you come crashing down to earth going through a wall, which is alright. I don't think it adds much, but I guess it's better than just coming straight down. You then hit some insane positives when transitioning back into the brake run, and at this point you have so much speed and the brakes finally kick in and you are riding the brakes for quite a bit of time before making your 180 back into the station. So that is Ka for you. Like I said, I think it's more gimmicky than anything, but I do enjoy riding it. It is just over so fast, and the whole point of the ride was to break that world record title. And props to Six Flags for funding this, and it's crazy how it's held this title for almost 20 years. It is going to be 3 thrown soon. Falcon's Flight looks insane. The first airtime hill is literally the size of Kingda Ka, so that is something to just put into perspective. Anyways, I'm giving Kingda Ka a final score of 7 out of 10. Onto the rumors. So Kingda Ka closing rumors have been here for the longest time. We all know that Kingda Ka is not exactly known for its ease of operations. The maintenance cost on this sucker is about as expensive as you'll get, and it constantly breaks down. This is not really Six Flags' fault and not much of Intamin's fault. It's just how crazy this project was using the technology at the time. I am overly optimistic for the success of Falcon's Flight, but we'll see if it ends up being good or, more importantly, reliable. So Kingda Ka is not exactly cheap for Six Flags to operate. It makes sense to get rid of or somehow make it more reliable. It's a disappointment to the guests that visit and find out that the prized possession of Great Adventure is closed. It also lost its fastest coaster in the world title, and it's gonna lose its tallest coaster in the world title soon, so it is becoming even more of a gimmick. Now, one piece of evidence against Kingda Ka getting redone is the absolute failure of Top Thrill 2. The whole point of Top Thrill 2 was to fix maintenance costs and reliability issues while satisfying guests with a new uplift. Now, we all know how this played out. Zamperla is a joke of a manufacturer right now, and it is really hard to watch. I made a video about how Zamperla was going to be good again, and I really hope that that was the case, but it's not looking like it. Thunderbolt hasn't had too much issues apart from terrible operations, so hey, at least they got that right. Cedar Point actually gave up on the mess of Top Thrill 2, and they are looking to get it open next year with Zamperla, so we'll see how that goes. Second time is the charm, right? Okay, so do I think Kingda Ka will close? The answer is absolutely not. Six Flags Great Adventure is not touching this coaster anytime soon. It is too precious to the park, and it is an icon for theme parks pretty much in the entire world. You can show someone a picture of Kingda Ka and go, "What coaster is this?" and a good chunk of people know about it. I watched a whole documentary in 7th grade about the construction of this coaster, so it is pretty widely known. Six Flags isn't just going to throw it in the trash can and act like nothing happened. So no, there is no saying goodbye to our tallest coaster. However, I can see some serious changes happening to make this coaster better. Do I think this is happening next year? No. Do I think this is happening in the next 5 years? Maybe. In the next 10 years, I will put my money on that. So what are the options? Well, the first option is to replace the launch with LSMs. LSMs are so reliable compared to accelerated technology, and this launch system is just goated. They're relatively punchy and can be put virtually anywhere and do the trick for most coasters. Except, Kingda Ka is not like the other coasters. There's not nearly enough power in LSMs to get the coaster up the top hat. It wouldn't have worked for Top Thrill Dragster, and it sure as hell isn't gonna work for Kingda Ka. I don't know much about the engineering behind LSMs besides that they are magnetic, but maybe if the launch technology improves even more, we can somehow get enough power from them to make it up the top hat. I don't know how this would work, but technology always improves. The other thing you could do is get creative on your use of LSM placements. We have seen LSM technology be used in so many different ways. Of course, we have LSM lift hills with coasters like Maverick. There's Wicked that uses it on a vertical lift hill. And then there's the absolutely crazy example of Voltron where the LSMs go beyond vertical, and there's so many other cases where LSMs are not on a flat surface. So you theoretically could attach LSMs to the vertical part of Kingda Ka to get the launch to hit the right speed. Admittedly, this would water down the experience of Kingda Ka. Of course, if I was doing this, I would make the LSM as punchy as possible in the beginning to get that initial launch factor, but the launch would have less overall acceleration. I could see this working, but yeah, I don't know if it's the best option. The other option is the Top Thrill 2 treatment. I think this is more likely than people think it is. Swing launches are a great way to fix this speed problem and still use LSMs. I know Top Thrill 2 wasn't successful, but that was a Zamperla problem. If Intamin tried redoing this, I see it being a lot more reliable than Zamperla, but you have to put it into practice to see what actually happens. I feel like this is a very logical approach to how you can solve the problem, but this is something that probably won't happen anytime soon. You could also do a layout extension to make it the next big thing, but I don't know, Six Flags is cheap and I don't see them doing anything beyond the bare minimum, which in this case is building a backward spike, so that is what I see them doing if they touch Kingda Ka at all. Like I said, I don't think this is going to happen anytime soon, but I would bet my money that this has been brought up in conversation before. So overall, Kingda Ka is definitely not going anywhere, but if I would even think about touching it, it would be a very similar remodel as the Top Thrill 2 treatment, but with Intamin instead of Zamperla. That's all for today's video, guys. Let me know if you agree with my decisions in the comment section down below. As always, make sure to like and subscribe, join the Discord, link in the description. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.